What's up, guys? So today I want to make a video on positioning, right? So it's actually I get a lot of questions about a lot of other things that are not positioning, and honestly probably the biggest mistake, especially being a druid right now, is not having the right positioning, because that is how you become more susceptible to getting destroyed in like one shot, or open yourself up to like super long CC chain, and you're not a paladin that can sack or bubble, so you just kind of get screwed and you die, right? Or your team dies. So I wanted to do a quick video on kind of really general things I look for when it comes to positioning, and then I'm going to show you some examples of games I was playing and kind of analyze what I was doing, what I did right, wrong, and whatnot. So in general, positioning is always going as a healer. Especially, I'm gonna try to gear this more towards threes, but twos you could still, it would definitely still apply, because threes is a lot less forgiving. You can, you can apply these same things to twos, but you can kind of get away with like playing a little more, like how I play, a little more aggressive, and find like openings to go in and stun and do some more damage without having to worry about just being dead all the time. But in general, the pillar's your best friend. Just plain and simple, your pillar's your best friend. On most maps, okay? So there's usually going to be two situations. You're either going to be, positioning well to prevent you from getting swapped to and dying, and or it's going to be positioning yourself to not get CC'd. Those are the two situations that usually happen. In general, if you ever watch me play, especially threes, occasionally in twos as well, if I'm like cautious, and you watch other streamers do the same thing, and it doesn't matter what class they play. Healers, generally, you always want to have a pillar there for your friend, to be your friend, because you can line stuff, you can position well, and if you're in the right position from the beginning. So generally I like to stay far away from the fight at the start. I might do I might come in stealth, rake the target, and then you'll see me maybe jump out, or fly form, travel form, jump out, or vortex, and get out, right? And then establish my position, get hots rolling so that I'm ready to go. Generally, if the fight's going on over here, I'm gonna use this marker here. Fight's going on in the middle, you want to kind of be over here. This door is annoying me. You want to be over here, get your heals up, do what you got to do. And for me, generally, I actually like to go for restarts a ton. So this is why the pillar is just so awesome for me. I can top my teammate up, get full hots going, and then I can run behind the pillar. If I need to top myself up, I can do that, and then just get a restealth, go back in, hit him up, and then just run back out, right? And then you can kind of rinse and repeat that. When it comes to when is the right time to push in, if you're trying to talk about playing offensively, it's just you got to be aware of cooldowns. Positioning is more, it's literally everything, in the sense that you have to be aware of the other team's cooldowns, which I use both Omnibar, the add-on down here, as well as fly plate buffs, the thing like above their frames that you see. And then if I notice there's any possibility that they could start a CC chain, like if Hunter has a trap up, I'm off stun DR, I'm off poly DR, I can get DB rung, stuff like that. That's what you got to look for. So if you can quickly, I know it takes practice to quickly analyze, all right, if I go in there, is there anything they can do to kill me or win the game off that? Any way they could take advantage of me being, playing in like that, or being not next to a pillar. So especially against Rogue Mage, DB ring, you got cheap shot. A lot of other classes, there's a lot of double melee right now, especially Rets or Windwalkers. If you're in range, if I'm out here, rather than back behind this pillar poking, they can easily just roll, give you a roll paralysis into a leg sweep, or just a horse into a hodge. Boom! Now you're in a bad position. You have nowhere to go. You're either gonna die, or you're gonna blow a lot of cooldowns that you may not have had to use otherwise. So general rule is definitely stay by a pillar when possible. If you can analyze a situation that you don't see any danger, you have NS, you have trinket, you have a lot of stuff to recover, then that's the case where positioning is a little bit less relevant. You can do what you want to do and play in. As for specific classes, so let me keep this up out here. This add-on shows a bunch of skills here. Omni CD here. I'm gonna use this just to kind of go through, because I keep forgetting what abilities people have. Death Knights. The one thing you gotta watch for is grip, okay? Especially with Frosty K's, their goes are usually, grip in, and they do their blinding sheet, and whatever, all their stuns and damage. So if a DK does have grip up, I don't want to be anywhere in that grip range. You know, I am max ranged. I'm chilling. If the fight's over there, I'll be as far away as possible or next to a pillar. But just be careful if you are next to a pillar and you are in death grip range. He can just wait and then just, you know, punish you the second you poke. So, you know, those type of comps, if there's comps that I know they want to go me and it's not like a CC based thing, I might just be standing max distance, right? Rather than next to a pillar. Usually more CC, you want to be next to the pillar so you don't get kind of caught. And then next class, Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is not as big of a deal when it comes to positioning. The only thing you really gotta watch for is just Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is just incredibly hard to heal. If you see him have meta up, I never play offensive during meta. I'll try not to unless I can get him in a stun without a trinket or something like that. But Metamorphosis is really hard to heal. I generally just try to run all the time during it. You know, if he's at meta, I'm using, you know, Vortex. I can use Dash. I can use Stampeding Roar, or I can use Shadow Melt Stun, use Thorns, whatever, just to kind of mitigate the Metamorphosis. That's kind of the one thing for Demon Hunters. Druids, luckily, you know, you're not susceptible to Root Beam because you can just shift it, so that's a really good thing. But outside of that, you might see some setup comps, like maybe like Jungle, which is Feral Hunter, or Feral Mage. And in those cases, you got to just be ready, kind of like playing similar to Rogue Mage. Make sure you're not susceptible to getting leap stun, like a leap bash, and then they set up a trap off that, and then, you know, it all goes downhill from there, right? So when it comes to ferals, definitely just be careful for being able to like get leaped and then stunned. And then if they are Convoke, again, you gotta definitely watch out, because especially, you know, Convoke could just easily one-shot you without a trinket. If you don't have a trinket, you gotta just be very cautious on that end. But yeah, mostly just looking for leap stuns. Boomi, really nothing that crazy, except for probably the one thing is clone. You will see this a lot probably more so in 3s than 2s. But usually, you know, a good Boomi will try to position themselves in between the fight, like if this is the fight, and their healer. That's what I would try to do as a Boomi. And like, let's say he could be positioned like right over here, right? So he's gonna try to position to a spot that he can get a lot more CC. So just always make sure, be aware of that. If there's a target that, like an off target that's not getting attacked, and they do have potential to CC you, just be aware of that. Like, I don't want to be healing here. If this guy is over here, I don't want to be healing over here. I want to be on this side. Just little things, and then make him move. He moves over here, I move back. You know, he follows you around the corner. Now I'm going to this pillar. Okay, so just general things. This is not just Boomi. This is kind of any off caster or no, off target that can CC you. Just always be aware where you are. You don't want to be just sitting as line, letting him get free clones or free polys or free whatever it may be, free fears. Just be aware of that, and if there is a threat, just kind of make sure you're always have LOS nearby. Next, hunters. Okay, hunters are pretty big because trap is rough. Okay, intimidation. Sometimes there's nothing you can do if they intimidation into trap. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. But if there's anything, you know, just make sure you are aware that they have it, and then you're ready to counter it. Like whether, you know, you pre-hot, you can pre-iron bark. You see the threat of, you know, them coming at you. Maybe you try to kill the pets, that doesn't happen. Things like that. When it comes to trap, if it's a survival hunters are way tougher to avoid trap. You can do a few things. You can try to vortex his harpoon. You can, if he's just on top of you, you should just be running. You can't use travel form here, but just be running. Marksman is a lot easier to dodge because, and a lot of people do have marksman, luckily. So, you know, this is the marksman is over by the orange. I never want to be even close to this guy, man. I want to be over here, right? I want never to be a threat to have trap. As long as trap's up, I track it down here. If trap is up, I do not want to even be near that. If he starts following me because I know he wants to get a trap, then I need to just be continuously kiting. He might do, you know, hunters like to do a concussive shot or a binding shot. Just be ready to shift right out and then keep running. Never be in range of trap. And force them to use other cooldowns to get the trap, because just the difference, right? If he can get a solo trap without using anything, now his teammate can use a Hodge or a kidney shot or whatever it may be on the kill target, and that's worse. If you force him to have to intimidation you and then trap, now he doesn't have a stun on the kill target. So you want to always, you know, do your best to either avoid the trap or make it so he has to use a lot of mobility and put himself in a weird spot just to get that trap. All right, I do that a lot with against rogues as well as hunters. Is, you know, if they really dedicated to getting that trap, put them in a bad spot so that when they do get the trap, they have to take 3-4 seconds to get back to the fight to actually do anything with that trap. So, you know, it kind of mitigates the effectiveness of it. Next up, Mage. So Mage, biggest thing is just poly. Poly and combustion. Okay, so with fire mages, DB can be a pain in the ass for sure. If you do see threat of a DB, try to be out of range of a blink, okay? For example, if the mage is on the orange here, me being here is not good because this is one blink away from either he can do a shimmer, maybe he can get like a shimmer poly, he shimmers back here and gets you on the poly over here, or he can just blink once, DB, ring, or poly off of that. So when you're versing a mage, you never want to be this close. You know, if he's playing here, I don't want to be there. I want to be back here. Again, if you are playing offensive, if you see potential, you know, you can kind of go against these things. But just general rules. If you don't want to ever be in range of DB. As for combustion, if they are trying to go you, you got to be aware of that as well. If he has combustion up, and you know, you maybe don't have trinket, or you know, if you're versing rogue mage, and you know they want to go you. You want to be max range from this guy at all times. Like, I don't even want to be even close to that fight, so that he just can't have the opportunity to. And especially like in Rogue Mage, I'm going to show you a Rogue Mage video in a little bit, but you want to be so far away so that even if the rogue, you know, maybe vanishes and cheaps you, I'm so far back here that he has to waste so much time to get to me, and maybe you can live a little bit longer. Because combustion is like just absolutely probably like the strongest cooldown in the game right now. Alright, next up we got monks. So biggest thing with windwalkers is not a lot of people do it, but at a higher rating it gets me all the time, man. It's so hard to live, but it's dealing with roll paralysis, right? In general, if they're not doing this, it's not that bad if you know they want to go you. So I just kind of, you know, just always be far away. If you see clones, you see Swen, just, you know, be careful, just be cautious, trade cooldowns, be in a good spot, you know, continuously kite, you know, use my, all the stuff I talked about in my kiting video. But as it comes for the roll paralysis, that's just tough, man, because it's you kind of don't have any time to stop it. So what might happen, or has happened to me quite a lot of times that I've died from, is even if the fight's right here, like this is a pretty far distance. This is out of paralysis range, I'm pretty sure. They will, like the second you poke out, they'll roll paralysis you, and it's so quick, it's literally one global, and it's just like nothing you could do, and then they walk over to you, leg sweep, and then they do their go. And something's nothing you could do. But if that is the case, you gotta just prep for it, you know, maybe always keep hots on yourself while you're waiting. Sometimes if I think someone might go me, I might just throw Cenarion on, because I know it lasts 30 seconds. So I might just like have Cenarion there on me the whole time, so if they do swap me, at least I have something there, so it's not like completely wasted. But yeah, that's probably general just on, you know, the goes on you for Windwalker to be careful of. Outside of that, just track leg sweep, and make sure if he does have leg sweep, you're not in there with them. Paladin, Hodge, biggest thing, Hodge, whether it's Holy or Prod or, you know, Ret. Typically you'll always see Paladins, you know, on their horse. So if they have, for one, if they have cooldowns, they have wings, you don't even want to be near that thing, dude. I want to be running. You know, a pillar might not do justice. Pun intended. Oh shit, dude. So if he has wings up, you know, you probably just gotta run it, man. The second he gets any connection, even if I'm on a pillar, the off chance he just pops horse, runs around, and hodges me, dead. So you don't even want to give him the opportunity to do that. So I'll cycle between, you know, vortexes, you know, using my speed boost, try to get restelts, stuff like that to just avoid the wings. Now, when it comes to paladins, holy paladins are just a pain in the butt too with Hodge. So, you know, if the fight's going on over here, the paladin, let's say the paladin's in the back and this is the fight, I'm probably gonna want to be over here, so that if you know, they want to start a CC chain, whether it's like a Hodge into a trap, a Hodge into a poly, or just a Hodge on me, typically you'll see him horse over. The second you see a holy paladin on his horse, just run. prevent that happening, you know. They do get to me, you know. Maybe you can use more ability, you can use a wild charge or a soul shave if you're Night Fae, things like that, just to kind of put yourself in a better spot so that you're not susceptible to the Hodges. Hodge is just the biggest thing to, you know, practice with getting good with or avoiding. Priest, two things. So probably one is fear. If they're trying to CC you, you gotta just be mindful of that. I track it on Omnibar. And you know, if they do have fear, even if I want to go in and do damage, so if this is the priest, I want to do damage. The second he comes out of that stun, I'm out. I'm out. All right. If you see a priest running towards you, he wants to fear you. You know. So do your best. You know, use your mobility. Run away. You know, might have to use a wild charge. You can use a vortex. Again, same stuff that we talked about. I talked about in the kiting stuff. So you know, if there's any threat of them coming to you, they probably want to fear you, especially if it's disc. The other thing is Shadow Priests. Shadow Priests are really good at killing you as a Resto Druid. So if you guys saw my last threes video, like I gotta play scared. I gotta play so scared versus you know, especially you know, Shadow play UA lock and Shadow Priest. But in general, Shadow Priests are very good at killing you because you have typically you're gonna have a lot of hots up, and if they just stun, mind game, silence you, your hots are gonna just roast you. And especially, you know, you add a UA lock on top of that, and then you can't dispel you mind games. It's just terrible. So if there's a threat of them going you, I want to play far away. I want to play really far away so that if they do, you know, walk towards me and he does, and it's really hard for him to get that stun off, because the second he gets that stun off, I'm in trouble. All right, because I know it's coming. Mind game, silence out, and then it's like brutal. Okay, so if you do see a Shadow Priest have a threat of going you, you know, you don't have trinket, you know, you don't have a lot of hots or a lot of heals left. Just be mindful of that, and if they are going, you just kind of try to walk away and then reposition. Actually, I have a video up here. This actually I want to show, you know, when it comes to Shadow Priests, and this kind of goes into consideration with locks as well. In this comp, constantly, I know that this comp wants to kill me. So you see that he just walks over, he goes for the stun, and now he's going to try to, you know, get damage out in mind games, hopefully. So I just got to make sure I'm always in a position to avoid this guy. This was not the best move here, because look what happens. I go into the open. This is an example of bad position. Something I probably could have done better was go this way. Just because he's on that side, I might have guided this. I don't know. Maybe it would have changed. But you see what happens here. I get caught in the open. I do stop this guy. I don't know if this Druid had. I'm not sure if the Druid had a stun or not there. I would have been on DR though. But I got out of that. And then look how much trouble I get in. Just because I crossed the pillar, this guy's got free drain lives on me. I got mind games on me. I got full dots. I'm in shit. All right. Luckily, I was able to NS it. I found out the best thing you do if you have mind games on you at low health and you're versing against a UA lock and you can't afford to dispel the mind games, just try to NS it. Because I don't know if it's a bug or it's just or if NS is just healing way more than mind games does. What does it heal for? Let's see if it says. I couldn't even see it. But anyway, you know, I get behind a pillar, I can recover now. And this was kind of the theme for the entire game. You know, I'm always in a position here. I'm hugging the pillars, just like I was just talking about before. If there's any threat of them going me, I got to make sure I'm in a good spot that they can't, you know, kill me. If I in this case, if I was in this game, if I was standing right here in the middle by this room, I'd be dead. Every single go they would have would be very scary. So you got to be cautious of that. Whenever there's any threat, you know, all three of those guys just kind of ran to me in this part here. I was behind that pillar. All three of them ran to me. I'm out. I don't want to be near that. And yeah, if there's a comp that wants to kill you, you always got to just be as far away as possible, and ideally by a pillar. So I just kind of gravitate right towards that pillar, and try to just keep myself alive the best I can. I think I have one more. I think they have one more big go on me here. Oh yeah, it's right here. So again, sticking by the pillar. Keeping my teammates up, keeping my hots rolling. See, this was the bad idea here. This is exactly what I said not to do. You know, you don't want to get stuck out here. I think I pushed up here just to get in range of my priest. But better idea would probably need to communicate with my priest to come closer, because the second I go out here, look what happens. Priest walks over, stuns me, and he goes for damage. Luckily, I was calling out. I was screaming to kick this. You know, if you do get stuck in a bad situation like this, make sure you're communicating with your teammates to stop that. Because if he didn't kick that, he gets a Void Eruption off, he silences off. And he had silence at this point too, so he actually could have silenced too. So that would have been really bad. So good thing he got the peels off on that. Now the priest walks back, and then they just wait. Every single time he has stun up, he's gonna try to do that to me. So it comes with that, you know, this could be psychic horror, this could be step kidney shot or step cheap shot. It could be intimidation, it could be hodge. Doesn't matter what the class is. If you know the comp wants to kill you, you got to be careful. You got to be careful where you are. You don't want to get stuck in an open position. You want to make it so that if they do get you, you're in a good spot that you can kind of recover from it. All right, and all right, moving along to get this video going quickly. Rogues. So rogues are a handful, man. You know, again, the two things, you know, you have to know if they want to go you or they're trying to CC you. If they're trying to go you, you got to be careful. If the rogue's over here in the fight, you know, you make sure you're always hotted. If you have an idea that the rogues want to go you or they want to swap you, make sure you're always hotted. And if you see him kind of moving a little bit towards you, you know, you're in bear form. Ideally, I try to stay far enough away so that I can notice if he's going to try to step. Because I think I'm not sure the step range is exactly. Does it say it on here? Does it say it on here? Alright, so I want to try to stay far away so that if he does step me, he kind of has to move towards me a little bit, and then I can kind of notice that. I see him turn his body. I'm out over here now. I don't want to get stepped to. If they're trying to CC you, it's kind of the same thing. You know, a lot of rogue mage teams, they try to, you know, step cheap shot you, and then the mage moves up and he polys you, and then now the CC chain starts. So you want to avoid that if there's any threat of coming to you. It's a little tougher now with sub rogue. It's hard to track step because they have two. Destination rogue was not that bad. You can kind of literally just track step, and then if he has step, if he doesn't have step, you can kind of play in, or not play in, or like play, you know, not as scared. But if he does have step, you would, you know, just be careful. Shamans, nothing that crazy. Just kind of watch it for cooldowns. You know, Ascendants, Sky Fury, Stormkeeper. If you see any of those popped, you're just gonna try to be a little scared and, you know, make sure you're lining. You see Sky Fury, Stormkeeper, yeah, you best be behind that pillar. You better not be in the open, so you can easily just get smoked. Same with Ascendants for enhance. You see, you know, his heroism or his Ascendants, you should be running, shouldn't be there. Warlocks, my best thing is just kind of probably lining cooldowns, you know, between Dark Soul, Dark Lair, PI if they're playing with a Priest, things like that. If you see big potential for cooldowns, you shouldn't be there. Especially when you see those big drain lives or Malefic Raptures, that's something you want to be careful with, and you want to make sure you're lining. Okay, and then also, with another thing with, this kind of goes for Priest as well, VT and UA, try to never, if possible, try to never get them on you. You know, if he's casting UA and you can see him, or position yourself that he can't get free UAs. UAs are brutal, man. It's like 25 seconds or whatever it is, and you can't ever dispel yourself, which is so annoying. So, you know, position yourself that you don't get VT'd or UA'd, so that they don't really get a lot of pressure off that. And then last one, Warrior. So Warriors, Warriors are kind of tough. The good thing though is that they are very kiteable. But you should be, as a Druid, man, you should always be kind of worried about Warriors. Warriors are definitely, if they get uptime on you, they can destroy you, literally destroy you with because of Sharpen. So, you know, if there's an opportunity for them to go you, I'm cycling between, you know, vortexing his charge or leap, positioning myself far enough away, maybe having thorns ready if he does swap me, you know, if I see him, you know, see a Stormbolt in the air, maybe I'm pressing bear. Stormbolt is something you do actually have time to react to, so you could actually, you know, potentially meld the Stormbolt. You can bear from the Stormbolt. You can, you know, overgrowth before it hits you, things like that, to kind of prevent, you know, lessen the damage of it. Outside of that, Warriors is more so kiting than, you know, positioning. Because, you know, they have pretty dang good mobility, so they'll probably get to you no matter what. Like, they can maybe, you know, leap charge or something like that. So it's more so just about being kiting. And, you know, if there is one positioning thing you could do, is just position yourself to that if he does want to go you're so far away that he has to use a gap closer, right? So if he's playing out in the purple there, you know, his healer's back there, I want to make sure that, you know, I don't want to be here, that he could literally just walk over to me and hit me. I want to be far enough away so that if he does want to go me, he has to charge. And then the second he charges, I counter it with either a wild charge or a blink or something like that, so that I can get distance right away and he can't get pressure. And then lastly, I just want to show you guys a game. This was a Rogue Mage game. So Rogue Mage is kind of like, this is an example of the comp that, you know, it could do both. They could CC you, or they could try to kill you. Most of the time it's CC you in threes, for example, you know, playing this. Unless I don't have Trinket, they're probably not going to go me, depending on, you know, how the game's going. But you guys, this is a good observation of, you know, how I play versus Rogue Mage. This works for twos as well. I typically will always open on the Rogue, because if you do not open on the Rogue, what happens? Step cheap shot, step kidney, okay? So every single time I try my best to open on this guy. I mean, occasionally I might have to open on the Mage to stop a G-Pie. But open on the Rogue, get right to a pillar, okay? I don't want to have to deal with that. I see this Priest door, the Priest door shadow right onto the pillar or tomb over there, so I don't want to be there for fear. So now I'm out again. Mage is trying to follow me. I'm trying to run behind the pillars best I can. Unfortunately, I run back in for that. I call for my teammate to stop the ring. They got it. Then after that, back here. So this was, so I'm back on the pillar now. I never want to be caught in the open because, you know, again, you could be susceptible to step. He hasn't even stepped yet. So he could step cheap shot me and then into a poly, okay? So I wanted to be pillar humping the best I can. All right, and then just kind of popping heals. See those I don't know if those polys are on me or not, so I just got to be careful with that. I got to make sure that I'm far enough away. So this was a bad example of positioning. Against mages, you never want to get double DB'd. This is either, you know, I should have either not been there, or I should have probably more so because I do need this tomb. Maybe I should have communicated to my priest to, you know, not stand there, just so that he can be in the open and not get double rung with me, and maybe he could have MD'd it off or something like that. I think he does end up getting MD anyway. Yeah, he actually gets the MD off on that. But again, you know, be in a position that you can't get blink DB'd. That's a big thing right there. Outside of that, I'm kind of this is kind of an awkward positioning on this map. I end up running for trying to get this rogue out. But here's a good example again. So if you do see a threat of them going you, look what I do to this rogue. I stun him and then I go back into the rooms. So he step kidneys me. There's no follow up now. This is a wasted stun because he has combust. If I was over here or anywhere else, this mage or the priest could have followed up with either a fear, a ring, or a poly, and then that would have been, or he could have even just sapped off. But now that I'm so far away, he has to run all the way back there just to get back into the fight and help his teammate out. And he almost dies straight up there. My mage luckily lives with this guy. He had his barrier out. This guy's trying to poly me, just trying to shift those. Stay in cat form because I just never know if any of those are on me. And if I have chicken in the blinds, because the game gets really close, and then we just end up scoring the kill there. But, you know, just always playing scared versus rogue mage because you never know if they're going to either go swap you or they're gonna, you know, swap stun into a poly or a fear or something like that. Yeah, let's get this finished up here. All right, but that's about it. Hope this video wasn't too long. Oh, Jesus, it's almost 30 minutes long. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you stuck through it. But yeah, and hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you push a like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Tell your friends and check me out on my stream, twitch.tv/mmarkers. And hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.